Alright. We're live.
Okay.
So, I guess we're supposed to just go through the PowerPoint and the assignment.
Alright, cool.
Is everybody on the PowerPoint, or do you guys need a minute to get situated?
Hang on, let me get to it just real quick.
Yeah. Give me a second, too.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is no,
We're in 420.
420. Okay.
Yeah. I know, I always have to double check, which class am I meeting with today? I think I have 2 other meetings today, too.
Oh, yikes.
No.
Yeah, me too.
I just have
And online isn't as easy as it used to be.
for sure.
And all my online meetings are Thursday evening.
Yeah. There goes your Thursdays. Did you guys read through what the health belief model is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think seems pretty simple. There aren't too many steps to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it because it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And, yeah, not a lot of steps, so that's good.
Uh-huh. I thought, yeah, it was honestly pretty simple. I don't know what really to say about it. It's cool how it put different things into perspective that you wouldn't have realized that affect behavior, but you read it and you're like, oh, that does affect behavior. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess we can go through the PowerPoint real quick. Let's see. Use something about not smoking campaign and begin developing information materials straight from the 6 constructs. So it says you develop some brochures and internet materials that contain very clear information about the risks and severity. So I guess that goes along with that first step, just making sure people know why it would affect them.
Right.
Yeah.
And here in that one pamphlet, they take care of the first 2 steps, which is susceptibility and severity. So that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
It says you put together some flyers, posters, ads, trying to show the costs of quitting are low. You try to include some of the benefits. And
Yeah.
now you need a cue to action.
And self-efficacy.
Hmm?
Self-efficacy.
Yes. And this one, they said they find some famous people who recently died of cancer because of smoking. So you show that, I guess that shows that it can happen to anyone.
Right.
Yeah. And then you put together a step-by-step booklet, which makes sense because you want to make sure that, there are, sometimes people are you try and jump ahead to okay, quit smoking, but if they do it all at once, they're not going to really.
Yeah, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, so it's probably, it's easier if you do step 1, make a plan, step 2.
Mm-hmm.
nicotine patches or something. I don't
Right.
Yep.
know. I'm on slide 7 now. See, got all of the construct covered, right?
I think so. Are we looking at slide 7 then?
Yeah, so if it doesn't work,
We've got to figure out what's going on. This example, none of the musicians quit. They didn't even try.
Yeah.
And most of your flyers and stuff were just thrown away. They weren't used. No one came to the free seminar. So what happened?
I think it's saying, like, in theory that should have worked, but it didn't. You know?
yes. Okay, so then
they
in
were all
slide
great
8,
plans, right? Everything that was all set up. It looked really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. You're right. In theory, yeah, it should have worked. But
so then on slide 8, there's the keep avoiding the easy, and I think that's the thing too. Is like we automatically just like, oh, it's only 6 steps. It's gonna be total, or 6 steps. It should be totally easy.
Sure.
Yeah.
John? Yeah.
let's maybe think of this is a perfect example of knowing, like really knowing your target population and
That's true.
understanding your target population.
Yeah, that's definitely important. Girls can really like know what their needs are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to slide 9, it says, what would you do different?
I think you like what we talked about. You have to really get to know your population. So there's a reason why they did not respond the way you wanted them to. So you don't know what's going on with them.
Right.
You didn't take the time to understand their background. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's
Like it says here, no insurance.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, their work is their priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it says here, social benefits. When you're talking about musicians,
Yeah.
where do they work? They're working in clubs, nightclubs, and bars and things like that, where there's a lot of smoking and that type of, not peer pressure, but it's very accepted in that type of a circle. And so you've got to consider all those aspects.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And this chapter made me think, because, like, I know quite a bit about nutrition, like a decent amount, because I've taken some courses, not like an expert, but, you know, and I still eat unhealthy a lot of the time, and so it's like, why do I still eat unhealthy even though I eat better, you know, and so it's like getting them to actually change the behavior is the hard part, you know, even if they know that it's bad for them.
Right.
So.
And their environment plays a huge role in that. Like Becky said, you know, they're in these clubs and bars and places where a lot of states you can still smoke in them.
Right.
So how do you, they're not going to change their environment. They're not going to go somewhere else. So how can we maybe help them work within their environment?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm thinking maybe that's a public policy thing you would have to attack too. Maybe it needs to be legislated that you can't smoke in those types of facilities, just like they've done with restaurants and casinos and different things.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes.
Yeah. So then, like slide 10, it changes their perceived severity from, oh, look at all the famous people who died of smoking, to look at all the money you're going to lose from being sick and not being able to do your job because you smoke.
All right.
So if their main focus is gigs or, you know, shows or whatever they're doing, then if that's going to be taken away from them, that might be their thing that gets them to think about quitting.
Yeah.
Where their motivation is.
Yeah.
That's where their livelihood is, right? For a lot of them. So they can't make money. They can't make
And then like
money sick.
the quote and the picture they have there, like, whoa, if that didn't scare you.
That's a great visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Reminds me of the commercials they do with people that
Oh.
are like that. Like the lady puts a cigarette up to her throat because that's the only way she can smoke it.
Oh my gosh, those are spooky.
Yeah, with the stoma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe a good way to get people to look at it.
Yeah. For sure.
And then part 2, they said, to demonstrate that the costs of quitting are relatively low, this time you focus on quit smoking modalities that the blues musician could really use, like the nicotine replacement patch, which is easily available at local grocery stores and pharmacies and doesn't take critical time away from performing.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Okay.
Now what's next?
Slide 12.
Yeah. Maryland outreach initiatives have been unsuccessful in engaging low-income African American women in mammography screening. Actually, targeting intervention was implemented to promote a no-cost mammography screening program. Data was collected for women 40 years and older on the history of mammography use and their knowledge and beliefs about breast cancer. 50% screening rate was achieved among 119 eligible participants. So lack of insurance and limited knowledge were the behaviors that were barriers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've got 50% screening rate, they must have attacked somehow the lack of insurance and their limited knowledge. So they educated them, and they were somehow able to get around not having insurance. Perhaps, like they said, it was free or very low cost. So they were more willing to participate, and they also educated them on the importance of it because they didn't have much knowledge about breast cancer or the advantages of mammography. That would be probably what they did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So the weakness, I guess, here it says on slide 13, does not address social and environmental factors necessarily.
Yeah.
Focuses on individual decisions. Yeah, because like in that other thing with the musicians, it wasn't about, they didn't focus on policy. They were like, well, what can we do to get you to change?
Right.
Does not account for disparities in knowledge or
Yeah.
and age doesn't matter. So it does recognize barriers, though, doesn't it? Doesn't, or it does?
Um,
I think it does, right?
So
well, it addresses barriers. It talks about it does do that, although it says weaknesses are critiques, recognizing barriers. Well, it does, because it talks about what are the barriers that are holding people back. Is it lack of education? Is it lack of insurance? Is it lack of the ability to get to the facility, transportation? You know what I mean? What is it that's holding them back? So it does recognize the barriers.
But those other things are things that are not as useful or as helpful in this method.
Okay.
Right. So health belief model.
That's just all of it all compiled.
Yeah.
That's just summarized right there.
Yep.
And the final
And
It is so tiny on my laptop I can barely read it.
I know. I guess I could have downloaded it. All right, so summarize how the health belief model works.
So,
Well,
I think it kind of like it just attempts to explain why people may or may not change their health behavior, right?
yeah.
I don't
And
want to
you
use
have
the word scare, but I kind of feel like you're scaring people into doing the better thing. Because you're like saying,
That's
well,
true.
you know, all the bad things that happen when you do it this way, it's probably a lot better if you do it the other way. You know,
Mhm.
like those ads for smoking, it's like, those are kind of scary. And it's like, oh, wow, you're going to have a big hole in your throat where you're going to have to breathe out of because you smoke. So
yeah.
I kind
That's a
of
good
feel
point.
like there's a little bit of fear.
And
Yeah.
like I said, you have to know the target population that you're working with and like what motivates them, and then you
Yeah.
kind of give them suggestions or like, hey, this terrible thing's gonna happen, you know, if you don't do this.
exactly. You're trying to figure out what motivates them, and then you act on that motivation. How do I get them now to act on that concern they might have? Whether it's, you know, they think they're at high risk or whatever. You know, you've got to figure out what motivates them and then construct some type of program that addresses that concern.
Right.
And hopefully that'll get them to comply with your program, or for change, comply with change.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
So it says, what kind of interventions centered on the processes move people through the stages? What kind of interventions? Ugh,
What does it
Well,
mean
like
by
those ads.
processes in this question? Is that like
I
the
don't know.
context?
Discuss. Well, number 2 is discuss the processes and how they relate to the stages of the model. So, are the processes like perceived susceptibility? Is that a
Yeah,
process?
like the constructs of it, or is
I think
that
so.
something else?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
So,
Okay. So, what kind of interventions move people through these stages?
I feel like ones where they have where they get to learn the reasons why they're doing what they're doing, and also like when they have like the opportunity to like participate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, an intervention is something that you're doing to help them change. So it could be, an intervention could be having a class on the dangers of smoking. It could be a campaign, like an ad campaign. It could be the pamphlets. It could be, you know what I mean? Any of those things that you do are all the interventions.
Mhm.
It could be a free smoking cessation clinic. It could be, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a ton of different interventions that you can do. Posters, ads, getting nurses, doctors into the community for a free checkup day to tell you your risks. It could be free patches, nicotine patches, you know, for your arm, whatever. Those are all the interventions. And helping
Mm-hmm.
people see the seriousness of it, or that they're susceptible. Like in this example, they used having rock stars do ads so that people could be aware, like, oh, this could happen to me. If it happens to someone's famous, it could also happen to me. So that's one that would move them through the process of, oh, I'm susceptible, right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
All right, so our scenario is the one with the kids and the tattoos.
Right.
So it says, peer and parental influences compete and often conflict. As youth approach early adulthood, they decide upon ways they wish to present themselves to others and count the cost of doing so by gauging the reactions they get. Attendant to this process as psychosocial risks and rewards. For example, the choice between acceptance by peers and rejection by parents and other authority figures factors into the decision-making process for behavior in general. We imagine this being more consequential when individuals contemplate getting something as permanent as a tattoo.
Mhm.
So, I guess what is his key discussion point? What is the behavior behind tattooing?
I think there's several. One is to get the attention of others.
Right.
Another is rebelling against authority or your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another one's just peer pressure, trying to fit in.
Yeah.
I think there's several behaviors behind the reasons for tattooing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To feel accepted and that you're part of the crowd. So,
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's several,
Yeah.
not just one.
No, definitely. And, you know, teenagers are like, they're at that age where they're unstoppable or, you know, they're indestructible and nothing can hurt them. And
But at the same time, really want to be included and feel
right.
accepted
Right.
and more or whatever.
They're
Yeah.
probably really likely to make dumb decisions.
It could just be that they're trying to rebel.
Yeah.
That could be part of it.
Especially with really strict
You want
parents.
independence?
Yeah, independence,
Yeah.
a sign of being an adult or mature,
Yeah.
that they can make those decisions for themselves. So
Right.
part of growing up and asserting their independence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we're supposed to talk
That's
about the
strict.
Yeah. Do you guys have that all open?
the application.
The assignment? Yeah.
Yeah.
I already turned that in.
Oh my gosh.
I got that done earlier.
Okay. Confusing to me. So help us out then with some of your ideas that you put on there. 'Cause I get so confused with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, like, my answers are just so basic, like, you know, cues to action. Hold a workshop where people can learn about and try different health approaches and do it in a way that makes it seem appealing, you know, and then, you know, because then seeing other people do it makes them motivated to take action. And I don't know, what do you guys want an idea on?
Well, the first question asks about the health belief model. I think we went over that pretty clearly.
Yeah.
The second one I was kind of confused on. It says, what individual interventions are you developing to apply the constructs as a health educator from the 8 different types? And I was like, what are the 8 different types? What did I miss?
Is that going back to the other models?
Guys, that's just explaining the boxes you have to fill out.
So, okay, so you don't actually have to answer number 1 or 2?
Well, like, number 2 is the boxes. It
Yeah.
just says intervention boxes. Then you go down and there's the chart, you know, and the boxes for intervention.
Yeah.
So in those boxes, you put the construct that you're developing. Then description boxes. In the description boxes, you put
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. That makes sense.
Yeah.
well,
The 8 different types, are those like the ones we learned before where it's like pre-seed, pro-seed type of thing, or?
Yeah, what are the 8 different types? I'm confused about
perceived perceptibility, perceived severity, all of them are labeled. So
But-
it'll say perceived benefits, you know, and then you went over that in the health belief model. So
There's only 6 listed, though. It says there's 8, but on the diagram or on the chart, there's only 8. There's only 6. It says perceived susceptibility, perceived severity, perceived benefits, perceived barriers, cues to action, and self-efficacy. So what are the other 2 that we're missing?
I have no idea.
Well, and it says what individual interventions. So there's specific interventions. There's 8 different types of interventions that you are developing.
Well, I think like what that's what I took from it. I just like came up with an intervention that I thought would work.
Okay.
Because somewhere there's got to be listed the 8 different types of interventions. That's where I was confused. I'm like, I have no idea where those things are. Was it in our reading somewhere?
I'm thinking if the ones from determine the theory or model from that, remember that that brochure that we looked at, and it was like sideways, and it had like the little arrows. It said health issues, and then it had like a list of, it said target population.
I have it. Yeah, you know what they are? The
And
intervention.
then the middle thing is determine the theory or model. Is that the theory or model? Is that what this 8 things is?
Yeah, you know where it's taken from? It's taken from the interventions table that we filled out. It's the intervention table that you're talking about. Yeah, there's 8 of them. Health communication strategies, health education strategies, yeah. Health policy, environmental change, yeah. Yeah, that's what they're taken from. Okay, that makes more sense then.
So we would just pick like which one of those best fits that type of intervention we're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And is the target population just teenagers, or is there a certain age? Like,
I think it's the teen, because it's what we just read about. It's peer and parental influence. It's underage youth getting tattoos. So I would say it's the youth.
Like 13 to 17 or something?
Probably underage, so under 18.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. That's our target population.
Was that in the last lesson, the 8 different interventions?
It was like one of the first lessons I saw.
Yeah. I almost think it was number 2. Lesson 2 up there, it says interventions. I think it was. I think it was from there. That's where the interventions table was that we filled out. So.
Oh,
I think I found
maybe I should go edit that in my thing. I was wondering, like, interventions. Like, oh, yeah, for application 2. That makes more sense. I messed that up. I'll have to fix that.
I can do this screen share thing.
Oh, are you sharing the screen?
I'm trying to. Well, if everything's black. Wait, is this the one? Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong one.
Oh,
wait.
It was there for a second.
Yeah. You did screen share with us. Well, that's the page we're working on.
Yeah. Not the one I wanted to share.
Yeah, I think it's the one in lesson 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lesson 2 application. It'll be in your OneDrive.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have any other questions about it then?
I think they're pretty solid. Once you figure it out, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Now that we understand what we're doing.
Yeah, I just need to go back and fix the interventions table for myself, but not your guys' problem.
I'm glad we talked about it though, because I didn't understand what it was saying either. So.
Yeah, me either. So that's good.
Okay, great. Are we at the same time next week?
Yeah, we need someone to be the leader.
Volunteer.
Invite everybody.
I think I can do. Let me just double check. I should be home. Yeah, I can do next Thursday.
Okay.
Okay,
So Diana's our leader.
Today's our class graduate, so today's the last day of work for me for the rest of the month. So.
Way to go, Diana.
Woohoo!
Hey, did we tell you? So last week I posted the link, right? And Diana and I are friends, and she calls me and she's like, "Hey, how come? Like, where's the link? I don't see it anywhere." I'm like, "I'm looking at it right now. It's there, Diana." And she's like, "I'm looking at it right now, and it's not there." And we screen shared with each other, like showed each other on our phones. And she was looking at something totally different than I was. So our teacher had us in different groups. And so, so I don't know if you guys didn't see that I had posted the link, but finally he changed it. We actually caught him on the computer, and he was working it out. So then we ended up being in the same group, and then all of a sudden then we weren't again. Then we were looking at different stuff, you know, other people's posts. Anyways, he had it all switched up. So
Figures it out.
Yeah, but it's all fixed now. But it was funny because then someone else posted, our links were here earlier and now they're gone. Where'd they go? I was like, uh-oh. We just went through all that. But I think it's all fixed now, and so hopefully.